Hey guys, this is the Therapist Gamer here. Today I wanted to do something a little different. This is related to the series that I've been doing over the last couple months regarding installing old games on a new PC. And I wanted to do this topic in order to address a particular issue that I've been running into as I've been trying to install some older games on a new PC. And I wanted to do a two-part series. That's why the audio that you're hearing today is a little different. I'm recording this with my phone in order to do the second part. I could have done the first part with my PC and the streaming software, but I decided to do everything with the phone just to make it consistent across the board. As you'll see in this part 2 for the series, why I needed to do this. Today, I want to take a look at a couple games that I've tried to install on this PC previously and had no success. This video is mainly directed to some of the PC master racers that I've seen online recently that continue to tout the idea that PCs are backwards compatible as a benefit of PCs over consoles. And while technically that's true, it's supposed to be true, in reality that doesn't seem to really be the case anymore. And I've got a couple games that demonstrate that really effectively, I think, today, that I want to try and install on this modern PC. This is a Windows PC, a Windows 10 PC, relatively modern hardware. We got a Core i5, we got a NVIDIA 970 graphics card, we got 16 gigs of RAM, SSD, a couple regular magnetic hard drives. For all intents and purposes, this is a modern PC. I'm going to try and install a couple games, and I picked these two games largely because I think they're a good example of what I'm talking about here. The first game that I want to take a look at is the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. If you're not familiar with this game, you probably should be, particularly if you're a fan of the Bethesda games like Skyrim and Oblivion and Morrowind. This was the precursor to those games. This was a one-off game called Redguard. This was a game that I purchased probably... I'm looking to see the date on it. The date on this game is 1999. So I bought this game probably within a year or two of it being out. This is a game that I think if you're a completionist in a world like Morrowind and like the Bethesda games, that you probably want to have in your collection. The problem is, if you have it in your collection, there's two problems that go along with that. The first problem is it's nearly impossible to find. This is a relatively rare game. If you look for this game on sites like eBay or something like that, this game itself is probably going to cost you in the neighborhood of $75, $80, $100 or more. It's a fairly rare game. But the second part is, even if you do buy this game and you have a modern PC, in all likelihood you're not going to be able to play this game. And I wanted to demonstrate that today. So we're gonna put this game in the system and see what happens. Let me go to my computer here. I will be right back. So we get the auto run notification. We choose run redinstall.exe. We select yes, and it's going to attempt to run. So now we get an option to install RedGuard. Let's click there and see what happens. And that's what happens. It just basically does nothing. We're going to try and next run this in admin and compatibility mode to see if that helps. So we go to properties, compatibility. We make sure we run this program in compatibility mode. For this is a pretty old game. I'm gonna do Windows 98. We've already got run this program as an administrator selected. Let's even reduce the color mode here just for grins and apply. Install, and it's going to try and install, and we get nothing. So I think that's a pretty good indication of the problems that you're going to run into. I've done a good bit of research to try and see if there's any workarounds for installing this on a Windows 10 system, and there doesn't seem to be. This game has been nearly impossible to get running on any modern system for probably the last 5-6 years, since about Windows 7. I think you can install it on Windows XP. Well, I know you can install it on Windows XP, as we're going to see in the second part of this series. But this game, it's a shame, but essentially this game is lost to anyone that even wants to try and experience it. Let's take a look at another game. The second game that I want to look at today is Kiss Psycho Circus, The Nightmare Child. I picked this game because I have fond memories of this game. This game came out in 2003, I believe. No, 2000. So this game came out right around the time when Windows 98 was shifting over to Windows XP. This game met some fairly critical success. Wasn't a real big success in terms of people actually playing the game, but it did meet some critical success. It was a pretty well respected game. Even had the KISS license. In a lot of ways, this game gave us something that no first-person shooters before had given us, which was kind of 4 distinct characters, 4 distinct worlds, 4 distinct ways to experience the game and play the game. It was just such a breath of fresh air. It was one of my favorite games of that period of time. And here's why I brought this game out. Because if you want to experience this game today, you're going to have a hard time. You got 2 ways to experience it. This came out on PC, and I believe it also came out on the Dreamcast, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the PS2, but I want to say it was the Dreamcast. This game, the console version of this game was very inferior. You know, the consoles of that time just couldn't keep up with a good solid PC with a good solid 3D acceleration. So even the Dreamcast had a hard time running this game at really nice frame rates. Didn't look all that great. with this game, pretty much any game around this time, you could install it on a PC and get near HD quality, depending on your setup and your monitor. If you're playing on a console at that time, HD didn't exist. So you really want to experience a game like this on a PC. So let's give that a try. Get out the install disk here. And we're going to put that in our machine. Alright, so let's see what happens when we try and install this one. So we get our runpsycho.exe. Let's give that a shot. Alright, so now we're into the installation. Yes. I want to put this under E, old games, .psycho. Alright, let's do the custom. Do we just want the executable, the game data, the movie files, the music files? We don't need the strategy guide. Alright, so it's going to copy that stuff over. We're going to stick this in the games. Kiss. Psycho. Next. Alright, we'll let that install. I will come back in a few minutes. Okay, so we're back. The program has installed. Now let's go see if we can run it. Alright. So, the game launches, or at least the setup screen launches. And I'm not going to change anything here, just to demonstrate that I haven't fiddled with anything. I'm just going to click on play and see what happens. Alright, so it's going to force me to change my display, but that's okay. Alright. We're going to do primary display driver, just to keep everything as default as we possibly can. We're going to do as high a resolution as we can. 1280 by 1024. Let's do 1280 by 960 just to see if we can maintain some aspect ratio here. Not that I don't think that'll make any difference. And now let's play. So, as you can see, we've got crazy colors. They're off to one side of the screen.
You now stand on the cusp of true reality.
So let's see if we can skip the intro. As you can see, the colors are all messed up. It's going to make us do a new profile. Okay. I can sort of tell what I'm doing here. I can see the cursor. We'll call ourselves player. We'll see if we can change the setup at all. Video. Change this to 32. 16 is the most we can do. It's 16 or 8. It won't let us change this. Oh, yeah, it will. Okay, I have to move my cursor way over there in order to get it to register. Alright. Apply. Let's see if that changes anything. No, not really. Alright. Let's go game. New game.
The Star Bearer.
Alright. So now we can actually tell what we're doing.
The Beast King.
But if you look up at the arrow, the select arrow, you can still see that the colors are kind of messed up.
The Demon. The Celestial.
Let's start with the Celestial. Oh, okay, let's try Starbearer. Wants us to do Starbearer.
The Star Bearer.
Alright, so we'll start with Pablo Ramirez, the Starbearer. So now we're back to the messed up loading screen.
This is the water realm. The old avatars are
But
powerless.
look down at the bottom, you can see that the text is messed up.
It is you that
It's
have
flashing,
decided to
it's
be
blinking.
Starbearer's champion in this time of desperation. Your journey will be a perilous one. From the
So
moon
it's still okay, but it's not a good experience.
The roadhouse. It all begins here.
Alright. Now,
Head upstairs. It's time to arm yourself.
so it is playable once the gameplay starts, but I think the video sections, which this game does have some of, are going to cause problems if you try and play the game. So it's not a good experience. It's not the best experience that you could have.
Your path to the circus goes through the city. Thus, your first task is to escape the roadhouse. Obstructions lie in your way, but with a bird's eye view and the arms of the elemental
I love
water,
this game.
all doors
This is such a cool game.
to you.
For its time, it was something else. Alright. So, as you can see, now we're back to the menus, and it's messed up. You have to kind of fiddle around and find the click points. It's just not a good experience. And that's what I mean by backwards compatibility being an issue with PC games. We need to stop saying that PC games are backwards compatible, because in a lot of cases they're not. You're going to run into these types of compatibility issues constantly, if you can even get the games to run. I would say over the course of the last couple of months, as I've been trying to install new PC games or old PC games on a new PC, probably 40 to 50% of the games that I've tried of this era, you know, around late 90s, early 2000s, probably 40 to 50% of them just simply don't run at all. They just do not even attempt to even run. There's another good portion of them that runs okay. That's probably 25%. Run okay. There's no significant issues. Maybe you have to download an update, and then they run okay. The remainder of them, either you've got to go through some huge workarounds in order to get them to play, or you've got to edit configuration files, you've got to download patches, you got to go to unofficial places to find these patches. And a lot of these patches nowadays aren't available anymore. Back in the old days, we didn't have Steam where you got automatic updates sent to you. Back in the old days, you had to go to the developer's website and download the patches. Well, a lot of these developers don't exist anymore, so these patches are scattered around the internet in some pretty dangerous places a lot of times. It's just not a good experience. Backwards compatibility on the PC is not accurate. It's not accurate to say that we've got backwards compatibility there. So, part 2 is going to be coming up in the next couple days, and it's going to be a follow-up to this particular video. I want to show you what your experience is going to be like on a different machine, on a machine of that era. So I'm going to show you that in a few days. This has been the Therapist Gamer. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like or subscribe. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns. I'm happy to try and answer those. This is the Therapist Gamer signing off. Have a good afternoon. You guys take it easy. Bye-bye.